Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Swapping Joysticks, a Game Awards special. We have just watched the Game Awards, which literally finished about 20 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago.
It is 4:30 in the morning.
It is, yes, it's even after 4:30 in the morning. And yeah, but we wanted to talk about this, and this was what was meant to be our first ever official, emergency podcast, but then the GTA 5 trailer came out at like midnight, and so we went and did that instead. That was the first one. But yeah, we're going to do it like when there's something big like the Game Awards or Summer Games Fest or whatever, something like that. I think it's fair that we'll do
jump
this.
in.
Yeah, I want to jump in and chat about it. And so thanks to everybody that tuned into the GTA ones and previous ones. And yeah, we're going to go and be talking about, one second, I'm going to have to pause it for 1 second. There we go. Sorry, there's a bit hanging out of the camera. I had to make sure it didn't crash. But yeah, I'm Ben Ostwick. I am a streamer, YouTube and Twitch partner. Sounds better.
Let's go with that.
And I'm joined by Eurogamer's very own
Ed Nightingale.
There we go.
I thought you were going to say my name.
No, you're like a Pokemon. You have to say your own name.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, we've been watching the Game
Do you
Awards.
choose me?
I'll stick you on balls.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, but also, by the way, anybody for the Discord, in the Discord community who's written what they've been playing, we will include that right at the end. But we're going to go straight in and talk about what we've seen, what's happened, what's been announced, what winners there are, and what obviously our favourite things are and what we hated.
Yes.
So we're going to be looking at the screen a fair bit because we've forgotten pretty much everything that happened because, we've reached that age. So we're going to go and start. I'm going to start with something that I'm a bit disappointed with.
Well, should we just sort of give a quick overall sort of view of it? Because I think there was a lot of good stuff in it. There was, for me, actually, I sort of knew a few things or had heard rumors. Like, we get stuff under embargo in advance. So I sort of heard a few things. But I feel generally it was a very good show. It's just... And there were some improvements in terms of there were women on the stage. Shock horror. Women exist in this industry.
I'm glad they did that.
Which is good.
There are two things that could have been improved for me.
Okay.
One of them they had no control over. The other thing they did.
Okay.
First thing that they had no control over. Every good-looking game is coming out in 2025, and to me that's years and years away. I was like, literally everything is 2025. And I know when GTA came out, everyone was like, I can't believe that's coming out in 2025. And I'm like, if they'd released that trailer after the Game Awards, they'd be like, oh, another game for 2025, because everything's coming out in 2025 now.
I mean, 2023 has been such a good year in terms of good games.
Yeah.
Maybe not for other things. In terms of good games, I do feel like 2024 is going to be a massive lull. And
That's
then
when
it's
we get
going
to
to peak
play
again in 25.
2024 probably excites me a little bit more, just because I know that my top 10... It wouldn't surprise me if my top 10 games for 2024 are games that I've never even heard of yet. Like,
Well, number one's going to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I mean, it's going to be in there, but maybe I'll hate it.
It's got a clear route for Game of the Year. It's all good. All good.
We'll see
What was
about
your
that.
other thing?
I mean, actually, there were two other things. Obviously, I would have loved it if, obviously, Jeff, being the son of two IMAX executives, like loves the Hollywood style and loves kind of being there with everybody. He's not going to mention the kind of record-breaking layoffs that have happened in the gaming industry, but not a single person who was presenting an award or won an award mentioned it, which was a little bit disappointing.
Well, they didn't mention that, and they didn't mention anything about Palestine either and Israel.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they have to race through the awards so quickly, and they're playing music to make sure people get off the stage quickly.
Yeah.
There's not enough time to talk about any of that in a speech on top of thanking anyone. But it's because the whole thing is so rushed.
Yeah.
Even the awards themselves, most of them aren't even presented.
That was my other thing, was like, present them all.
Yeah.
Or if you're not going to present them all, have literally like a 1 hour pre-show where you can get the ones that you're not going to. But I mean, I don't know. If you're nominated for a game award and you go there and everything, you don't want it to just be like, hey, yeah, you won, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, it just seemed a bit random as well, which ones weren't. Like, audio design was given an award, but actually the best music was just rushed through. And
yeah, like some of the, I guess the bigger ones were announced as part of the show, but then something like Best RPG, which is like some of the best games of the year in that category.
Yeah, that category. Yeah.
And that was just rushed through.
But yeah, why was Best RPG?
The camera's gone blurry.
Oh,
There we go.
there you go. Best RPG was Yeah, it's weird that best RPG was rushed through, but best action game was not.
No, that was also rushed through.
I thought that's when Zelda won.
No, action went to Action Adventure is what you're thinking of.
See, I don't even know.
But action went to Armored Core.
Yes, it did.
So yeah, I mean, the whole thing is quite clearly a money making exercise for Jeff Keighley.
Oh yeah, there was vaping commercials. Like what the hell?
It's full of commercials. It's all about the trailers and not the awards.
It's always been
called
like that.
The Game Awards. It has always been like that, but I feel like this year was worse.
Oh, I feel like it was worse before because it was just more blatant last time. Like it was really over the top, ridiculous. They used to have. I'm sure they had adverts, or like they had music breaks in there for Sneak Energy or whatever. Obviously not Sneak Energy, but like they had. I think it was a lot more egregious before, and it was very much in your face. Whereas this, they try and put a little bit of classiness with it.
Classiness at the Game Awards.
No, I don't think the trailers were. I think the adverts and stuff in there. The most over the top was, I think, the Google Dome. You know, the Vegas orb, whatever it's called, sphere. And like having some mode, but it was also like game related.
Yeah.
Were there any things apart from the vape? I mean, the vape commercial, they still made that very video gamey.
I honestly didn't notice that, but I was also busy writing, so I probably missed it.
No, there weren't that many trailers. There weren't many like adverts for stuff that was totally different and bizarre. And even like the ones for TV shows were for Fallout.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is pure adverts, but I felt it was a bit more video game related this time. I think they're getting better.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Maybe.
Well, Jeff doesn't really care about his own awards, so neither do we. We're not really going to talk about them.
Although,
but I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 basically won most of the ones that it deserved to.
I'm
happy for that.
I'm very happy, because I thought Alan Wake was getting a bit of steam, and I've not played it. Maybe I would love it, but I don't think I would.
Alan Wake won Best Direction, which I do agree with. I think that I can understand why that won. It also won Best Narrative, and that's because it's a game about writing, so it just seems obvious. And actually, it should have gone to Baldur's Gate, I think.
What do you think about Ben Starr being snubbed? Well, he wasn't snubbed, he was nominated, but not getting that. Because I would love to see, because obviously Neil Newbon, who plays Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3, won that, and he was choking up. And I love Ben. Ben is a really, he's a good friend of ours. He's been on the podcast. We would chat to him every now and again whenever we see him in places. But if he was not going to win that, I can't think of anybody better.
Yeah,
that was nominated.
Out of those nominated, it was absolutely Ben Starr versus the Baldur's Gate 3
I'd love to see the votes.
Whoever from the cast of Baldur's Gate 3 was nominated. Because I think,
only
Neil was nominated, but I think, that's for me, from what I've seen and what I've played, Baldur's Gate 3 is very much an ensemble piece because all of the voice actors in that are incredible.
That is
true. It's really hard
We've had
to
on Swapping Joysticks.
Exactly. And it's really hard to just sort of pick one as an outstanding one.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Neil won. I feel like that's more of a on behalf of everyone. But I would have loved Ben to have won it. I think he absolutely deserved to have won it and fully deserved his nomination. But I'm glad that it went to Baldur's Gate, or a Baldur's Gate actor instead of him.
Wonder if they'll ever do anything like the Oscars where they have Best Actor and then Best Supporting Actor. Because would Baldur's Gate have been a full set of supporting actors?
Yes, I would have said that, and then Ben would have won leading actor.
Yeah.
I can imagine that.
I can definitely see Ben as getting second place, but I wonder what the votes are like if it was just those two that got all the votes.
We should, Jeff, if you're listening, do that next time. Best performance and then best supporting performance.
Yeah, give yourself an extra. Well, actually, no, he doesn't care about more awards. He cares about more adverts.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like 3
hours. You can extend it by an extra few minutes.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go into the games that were announced.
We're going to go into the adverts.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about the adverts. I mean, Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3 won. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think I voted for Spider-Man, but because I knew Baldur's Gate was going to win it, so I voted
actually
something
didn't
different.
vote in any of them.
You didn't even vote for Ben Starr? You're trying to say no, but you're trying to think how to say that so he doesn't get upset.
No, I think I didn't vote. I actually just didn't vote for anything in the Game Awards at all. However, I will say that
you nominated.
Eurogamer was part of the nomination process. So I made sure that Ben Starr was nominated in that.
Okay.
So I did do my part there.
You've got more of a say in that than you do in the one where
yeah.
millions vote.
So
there you go. Okay, well, we are not.
I did push for that.
Okay, so we're going to go into the things that were announced. I've got to say, it's probably not something that we would really talk about that was announced, but Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is getting a remake. No, why? Why do we need a remake of a game that just came out a few years ago?
Yeah, I mean, why is the main question, but equally, I haven't played this game, and so maybe I should now and play the remake.
No, yeah, but I feel like... Oh, it actually launched in 2013. But I feel like the graphics and the style of that are...
It's very stylistic.
So it's a game that you could play these days and you'd be fine.
It's Joseph Fares.
I do wonder... Yeah, you control two brothers at the same time with one controller.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if the remake allows two people to play it maybe online, or if there's a different way, because obviously It Takes Two. Was It Takes Two... That wasn't on... Was that online? Did we play that online, didn't we?
Yes, we played online, yeah.
So I wonder if they're going to add that and make it a little bit different.
Maybe.
Because otherwise, I'm like, why are you making a remake of a game? Just make another game.
Yeah, I've heard Brothers is very good, so worth a go. But
I'm just getting a little bit annoyed. I'm sure everyone else is.
The number of remakes
For things that came out in the last gen. I mean, there wasn't a massive difference between PS4 and PS5 in terms of steps of quality from like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and that. So why? Yeah, it's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Pony Island 2, I've no idea what that is.
It's the creator of Inscription.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no, I think that's the one I was... If it's from the guy from... Yeah, what's his name again? The one that you ignored?
What?
Oh, no. Who was the one that you ignored at the Brit Awards or the BAFTAs?
Let's not talk about that.
You didn't ignore him, you just didn't recognise him.
Shush. Anyway, this is the creator of Inscription. It looks very strange. I'm presuming there's a Pony Island 1.
Daniel Mullins.
Yeah, I'm presuming there's Pony Island 1. I've never played it, never heard of it. But this looks very weird.
Yeah, I like something a bit weird, and I'll try it for a little bit. And I mean, Inscription, I think, is a game that we need to sit down and play.
Yes.
And then talk about it.
I played it at games conventions, and it was fun.
I heard it changes and things like that. No, what am I thinking of? I'm not thinking of Inscription. Was it Inscription? Yeah, it was Inscription. Yeah, because that got like a 10 out of 10 in Edge, didn't it?
Probably.
Yeah.
All close.
Am I thinking of which is the one that came out on Netflix? Is it Inscription?
I have no idea.
It is nearly 5 a.m.
Yes.
Okay, next one.
The Rise of the Golden Idol. Don't really care.
No. Usual June. That's the
new game from Finji.
Studio behind Night in the Woods and Tunic. Now, if you'd known that, you might have been a bit more...
Well, no, I know who Finji is.
Okay.
I mean, they're a publisher more than a developer.
Not a developer.
I think. I might be wrong. I don't really remember much of that. I'm sure it was great. Harmonium the Musical. And I heard like this is a musical game, and I was like, I'm immediately interested. And now it's actually about a deaf girl who performs through musical numbers, which I'm presuming are maybe sort of in her imagination. Yeah. It looks very sort of Disney, Pixar-y kind of vibes, and quite sweet. So that might be worth a go.
Yeah, it did seem a bit like that. I'm not sure exactly if it's my cup of tea, but we will.
I think you'd hate it, but yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to work out what that game was. I don't think it was Inscription. I'm trying to think of. But I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. You can play it on there. Which is the one where you're looking at the films that people... Immortality, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Not Inscription. Inscription's the
Very
card
different.
game that changes. Yes. Okay. Windblown.
Windblown. This is the creators of Dead Cells.
Yes.
Which both of us really enjoy, Dead Cells. And this is more of a sort of...
Didn't show any gameplay.
They did. It's a like 3D action kind of thing. But it's sort of... are they dinosaurs or monsters?
Yeah, I thought it was like...
with a sort of cartoony vibe. So quite different to Dead Cells, but I love the studio. I love that game. So I'm interested to see what that's...
And then I got very, very excited because there's a game in... Well, I don't know if it's a sequel or same universe or whatever. A follow-up game to Thumper Thrasher.
Thrasher, great name.
Thumper and Thrasher.
So this is a VR game, although it is coming to flat screens later.
I love that.
As they call it. And it's sort of, you have, from what I've read about it, you have a space worm that begins as a small worm and then it grows into a big beast. And you use gesture controls to make it grow. I'm presuming in time with the music. as with Thumper.
Make it grow.
Yeah, so you use gestures and you make it grow.
And then you thrash it.
And then you thrash it, and lovely music explodes out of it.
It looked good. It looked really good. It reminded me a little bit of Res with Thumper, because it looks like you're moving your head, potentially.
Maybe.
If you're using your head to kind of... Because there's snakes, and you have to put they look like you have to put the reticle through the worm. Because I don't know if you're controlling the worm or if you're going through it.
It's gesture controlled, is what I read.
Oh, okay. Rather than your head. Is your head a gesture? Is nodding your head a gesture?
Maybe.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to that, because Thumper was just...
Thumper's really cool.
Have you played it in VR?
Yes.
When you get in that game in VR and you're focused on it as well, it's like, you get the Tetris vibe of where you're just staring and everywhere you see is Tetris. Well, it's like that, but you're just completely lost in it. And then you're like, whoa, was that 5 minutes? No, it was 2 hours. Then Dredge and Dave the Diver is having a unexpected crossover, which I say it's unexpected. Dave the Diver's
quite obvious,
Xbox.
really.
Well, the thing is, Dave the Diver's Xbox and Dredge is on Game Pass, so I don't know the developer behind Dredge. Are they owned by Xbox?
What? Dave the Diver isn't Xbox.
Isn't that why he... No. Oh, no, it's not Xbox. It's...
Like, what are you talking about?
It's very, very late, but it's... No,
It's owned by Tencent.
That's the one. No, is it Tencent?
Or it's some big studio.
It's the Korean one that's worth billions.
Then it's not Tencent, because that's Chinese.
Yes.
I can't remember exactly, but no, it was
it's the one that does all the
Steam
mobile
first.
games.
Now it's out on Switch.
Yeah. Dave the Diver is... No, I'm trying to... The company that does it, it's a Korean company that's got like billions. It's Nexon.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Sorry. They are Japanese. Oh, it's in Korean and Japanese. I don't know. It's okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter who they are. Dredge and Dave the Diver have a collaboration, so there's some horror stuff coming to Dave the Diver. Great. Move on.
I'd
What's
quite like
next?
to play Dredge. Is it any good?
I'm sure it's great, but there's a lot to get through.
There is, and the next game I'm very excited about.
Yeah, so this is Exodus. It's a new sci-fi RPG.
Oh, Dredge is Team 17, of course. Yeah.
From sci-fi RPG from a new studio made up of former BioWare developers. And it's sci-fi RPG, so it's definitely giving sort of Mass Effect kind of vibes. And the studio is a subsidiary of Wizards of the Coast, which is definitely going to bring some RPG flavor as well, I imagine. Yeah. This looked really cool.
Yeah, and the main character is called the Traveler, so Destiny in there as well.
Sure. Sure. But yeah, that's definitely worth looking out for.
And then a big surprise, like God of War came, like they showed God of War and Kratos, and we're like, well, it can't be a sequel because all I could see were people was them fighting. And I'm also, I don't know where the next God of War is. It's not going to be announced kind of half an hour into the Game Awards, is it? That's going to be a huge announcement.
That's a big end of, one more thing, boom, boom, boom at the very end.
And probably
and
like
even then it will be a
time.
PlayStation showcase.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone was like, oh, hang on, is this DLC? And it was interesting because I wrote a story on this, and when I looked, like, literally a year ago, they said no plans for DLC, and clearly they've changed their mind.
It
is a roguelike mode, and it's called Valhalla.
Valhalla.
Well,
as they pronounce it.
Where presumably this is Kratos going through Valhalla, and it's roguelike. So what I have read is that it's on the PlayStation blog. Is that this is an epilogue to the game. So, spoiler warning for the end of Ragnarok. You finished, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So at the end, Kratos and Atreus part ways.
Yeah.
And so this is then continuing with Kratos after that point, where he goes on like an extension of his story.
Interesting, because I am convinced that Atreus is going to be the main character in the next one.
Yeah, maybe.
So if he...
Maybe this ties that up, I don't know. But it's a roguelike mode, so you're going into Valhalla, I presume, to battle stuff, but it's roguelike. So you've got all your weapons and all your skill tree from the main game, but then you have other perks and things like that you collect along the way. There's some customizable armor and other bits and pieces. So yeah, more of that. And it's out next week on the 12th of December.
It is, and it's free.
And it's totally free.
Which is, I think people were like, oh, I don't really care about this DLC. And then they were like, out in 5 days. And they're like, And then it said free. And everybody in the chat was going, oh, okay, yeah, I'm sold.
Yes.
Or not sold. It's free. And then the next one was Big Walk, which is from the people that make Untitled Goose Game, which...
I kind of missed this trailer because I was busy writing God of War.
It was weird. It was just... It looked like some kind of adventure game or a... It was weird because the characters look like these very, very basic models that look like prototypes of models of whatever they are. But it was in a kind of stylized world with graphics like Firewatch, that kind of weird. It was just, it was very, very weird, and it looked like it was co-op. I think it was. It is. Yeah, it's a cooperative multiplayer adventure about teamwork and talking, where players will band together to solve puzzles and make new discoveries. So yeah, it's very different to Untitled Goose Game, but it's absolutely bizarre and unusual, and people work together to solve where they need to go.
Interesting.
But, yeah, and it's very much Untitled Goose Game.
We've got another look at Hellblade 2. We still don't have a release date, which is pissing me off because I'm desperate to play this game and I'm like, just give it to me. But we know that it's at least scheduled for 2024. So it's on the way. And I imagine that, Xbox need a good first-party exclusive at this point. And this could be it. I imagine early next year.
I think it's going to be quite niche. I don't think it's going to be a big thing because I liked the first one a lot. I thought it was really good, but it was borderline a bit too depressing and a bit too just grim. And this looks like it's ramped up to 10 with
it's
the
not,
grimness.
It's not a mass market appeal game at all. But
it might win the awards.
Well, maybe, but I think firstly they need a good exclusive.
Yeah.
Secondly, the first game was brilliant, so they can jump on this one, and the graphics of this one look absolutely incredible. So I think Microsoft are going to push this a lot and make it maybe bigger than you think. But it looks amazing. It looks amazing. I can't wait to play it.
I don't know. Every trailer comes out, I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of people that are just not going to be interested in that.
Oh, probably, yeah.
And they're going to push it in. I think they might get a bit of backlash.
I don't think they're not going to get backlash.
If they're pushing it a lot, from the gamers TM.
Well, fuck the gamers
TM.
I
know, but they're the ones that vote, sadly. I don't know. I don't
give a flying fuck what they think.
I just saw it. It just looked incredibly gory, grim, dark.
Love it. Give it to me.
Miserable.
Yes.
Gory, torture. It's just torture porn.
Great. Love it. Give it to me.
No Rest for the Wicked, whatever that was. That's the Moon Studios, the Ori one. Yes.
So this is the next game from the studio who made the Ori games, which are 2D sort of Metroidvanias. And this is this action RPG, sort of dark folklore-y kind of vibe, which
apparently
sounds really cool.
Single player and 4-player online co-op modes.
Yeah.
Shared during the Wicked Inside Digital Showcase on March the 1st. We'll get more information.
Nice. So, I've only played the first Ori game. I haven't played the second one, which I keep meaning to play.
I've heard it's even better. I've heard it's easier. Or it's less frustrating than the first one.
Good, because the first one was. But that tree level in the first game is so good.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't. It's sometimes when a game is so good, you don't mind repeating the same thing again and again and again until you get it. Because you're like, well, this is just great fun. It's stunning.
Yeah. So I'm very excited. And also just the detail they put into the visuals of Ori are so good that I'm really intrigued to see what they do next. So I think that could be really good. Yeah. That's No Rest for the Wicked.
Yes. Dragon Ball fighting games, there's a million of them. Then the casting of Frankenstein, Frank Stone.
Frank Stone. So this is a new narrative single-player game set in the universe of Dead by Daylight.
Because that's a universe you want to go and spend a lot of time in, isn't it?
And it's being created in collaboration, so it's Behaviour in collaboration with Supermassive Games, who made Until Dawn and The Quarry. And this is very much that vibe of a narrative, choice-driven game.
Oh, it's going to be a choice-driven game.
Yeah. So it is like The Quarry, basically, but it's set in the world of DBD. And it's an original story, original characters. It's got a new killer who is presumably Frank Stone from the title.
And you think you think it's a Frankenstein
Well, the name
killer.
is Frank Stone, and it's called The Casting of Frank Stone. What I've read from the press release was that it's a sort of old American town with a dark history of Frank Stone, and it's these 4 kids that basically go and explore
I got some like
an area that he was obviously in, which they're obviously the 4 survivors and he's the killer. So it's the kind of 4v1 vibe that you have of DBD, which is very clever.
I have never seen other than like 3 episodes, but I got like Stranger Things vibes.
A little bit of that, maybe, yeah. There's a very obvious hook as well.
Hook, like in Dead by Daylight,
like a Dead by Daylight hook as well.
Because in Dead by Daylight they have to put people on the hook.
Yes, I know.
Do you?
I have played the game. Yeah.
Have you? Oh, you did actually. No, you did a little.
Funny, Ben.
No, I generally forgot that you played like how many games?
I've played quite a few games of it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like it very much because I'm not very good at it. I know I get other people like it.
Oh yeah,
but my thinking, I know. My thinking was just Frank Stone sounds a bit like Frankenstein, and if it's this killer who's chopping people up and stuff, then maybe it's like a modern day Frankenstein kind of story. I don't know.
Do you think he kills?
That's completely my guess.
He kills them, and because he wants to like take their limbs and add them to himself.
Maybe.
Then it was Visions of Mana, which looked pretty, and I'm glad it seems to be. It's not a remake for once.
It's not a remake. So the Mana series started originally as a spin-off of the Final Fantasy series. So I think it was Seiken Densetsu in Japan, or Final Fantasy. I know. I've got my knowledge. Final Fantasy Adventure, which was like an action RPG spin-off of Final Fantasy. That then became Secret of Mana on the SNES, which is a massively loved game from that period.
Didn't come out here. Which is the one that didn't come out? Was that Trials?
You're thinking of something else, I think.
Okay.
But then so Secret of Mana then started the Mana series, and there have been various Mana games. The most recent was 2020, which was Trials of Mana, and that was a remake of one of the older ones.
So that did come out.
But this is Visions of Mana, which is an all-new entry, and it's the first one in over 15 years. So they've had various games, but they've all been re-releases or remastered. So this is the first brand new one.
Interesting. I found that it's coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S and PC. So it's coming out to the last gen on PlayStation, but not on Xbox. I just thought it was a bit weird.
Isn't everything backwards compatible on Xbox anyway?
Not, but you can't go and play it's not forwards compatible. Because this is like, if you've got a Xbox One X, you won't be able to play this. Because this is coming out on this Series S and...
Oh, I see what you mean.
I
mean, sure.
Just a bit weird. The fact that people are still... That's another thing actually noticed in the Game Awards. A lot of these games are just PS5. It's like, it's not coming out on PS4. Not coming out on the one.
I mean, good. Like,
yeah. But then I always feel that those games were like obviously held back if they're doing both generations. But
exactly.
I also feel it's a bit held back with the Series S existing as well.
Well, that's Microsoft's problem.
Well, no, because then it'll impact all games. If they're releasing a game, they're like, we've got to make
release it on the Xbox, and then there's no good games. Like, I mean, that's a Microsoft problem.
All games that are on Xbox are going to be downgraded.
No.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying. Anyway, Visions of Mana, it's the series is like action RPG. This is semi-open world, anime style. I think it looks quite cute.
I totally forgot about that game existing because of the next announcement that was made.
So the next game
was
not what we wanted it to be.
I'm fine. I'm totally fine because I know the one that I wanted it to be is a game that exists. So I've mentioned this before, but when a game gets announced and I know it's coming out, I'm like, okay, cool. I don't necessarily need to know more. Sometimes I might want to know, but like when a game gets announced, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So Kojima came out, Jeff Keighley's best mate.
Yes.
Came out and announced.
Well, we all expected or hoped for Death Stranding 2.
I did.
And instead, we got something else. Now, we did know that he's been working on a different project, which I think is Xbox.
Yeah, no, I think he said that before.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah,
okay, fine. So, and that is what he showed. And it looks to be some sort of horror thing with real actors in it.
And it's weird.
And it's called OD.
Overdose?
I guess Overdose.
Do you think that stands for something else? I mean, it'll definitely stand for something else. OD, zero. Maybe it's a zero. Maybe it's not an O.
Oh, don't say that.
It'll be him.
No, because it's Kojima being wanky.
Yeah. No, I'm very, very excited about this. I love Death Stranding so much, and I love just weird shit, and he does the weirdest kind. I like it when people do something completely different with pretty much any kind of art, like music. I like the weird, odd shit, except for Bjork. And even filmed some wanky, weird.
You don't like wanky things.
Not wanky things, weird. But like that is very exciting, especially if it's a horror game, because obviously Silent Hills was canned with him and Guillermo del Toro. So I wonder if any of the
announcement,
ideas
they had everyone coming out of a door, and I thought that was a PT reference at first.
Oh, did you?
Because PT is obviously you going down the hallway and you go through that same door again and again, and I was like, is that a PT reference?
And people keep coming through that door. And,
yeah.
I'm intrigued to see what he's learned from that, because I bet there'll be some stuff that he had in mind for Silent Hills that he could potentially bring into a horror game.
Or from PT, from what that was going to be. So
I thought PT was just a teaser for Silent Hill.
Well, it was, but it sort of became its own thing, really.
Yeah, but this is going to be weird. And it was the most Kojima presentation ever, wasn't it? It's like, it's more than a game. It's not just a game. So I think it's going to be a very narrative driven. There'll be 4-hour cutscenes.
So this is the thing. He then brought out Jordan Peele, who is collaborating on it. Jordan Peele is the director of Get Out and Nope and loads of other really good horror films.
Weird horror,
who obviously like loves Kojima as well in his little spiel. And yeah, it's real actors in it with sort of proper mocap of.
They were showing off the fantastic mocap. And
yeah. At this point, I'm like, Kojima, just make a film.
Like, I don't mind that he's bridging the gap.
The Metal Gear games have all been very cinematic, and he, the fact that he has these like 100, like really long games, and that's because the cutscenes are so long. It's like, just make a film. You obviously love film and you love cinema. Just make a film.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that he's bridging the gap, because I don't really like films. So I don't want him to make a film. I'm happy to have something in the middle, because obviously, yeah, video games, they get too difficult and they get too like action based. There's no story. Don't like that. So this is kind of like the perfect happy medium for me. Maybe this is why I really like Kojima. But I'm intrigued. But no, I was just thinking, when you saw just how detailed, like I've never seen mocap as detailed as what was shown just then. Like, it's really emphasizes the fact that you need good actors in games these days.
Yeah.
And you're not just getting the kind of the second-rate people that are just random voice actors, that voice a bank advert maybe, and now but you need an actual actor, especially when you're mocapping them as well, because they not only have to, before they just gave the voice, but now they're giving their facial animations, they're actually acting the characters.
Well, this is why increasingly at the Game Awards, you're seeing Hollywood actors come in and present stuff, and they're like, oh, by the way, I'm also in this game. I mean, Timothée Chalamet is clearly not in a game.
He was so
even though
robotic and like,
I mean,
scripted. It was just everybody, even like, oh, it's so cool to be here. Just like, there are lots of great games at this year's Game Awards. Here is a roundup of a musical version of the scores.
Good job, Timothy. Well
and
done.
Then the winner is, and then went.
But increasingly, you are seeing a lot of big actors get involved in games, and I think also or people who've come up, game actors, people who have been noticed through gaming, people like Ben Starr and Neil Newbon and whoever else are becoming stars in their own right because of games, because people actually respect actors because of that.
James Perry.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, Kojima's just make a film, but he's making a horror game called OD.
I'm very happy that he's got 2 games in the works, because then that means I can play both.
Sure.
And I'll play it and I'll hate it probably, and it'll be incredibly terrifying, and I'll finish it and just be like, I had no idea what was going on then, but
what's
I loved it.
What's going to happen is that we're going to get OD and you're going to play it and go, oh, it's not Death Stranding, it's not what I like, I don't like horror games. And I'll play it and be like, oh shit, I loved it.
Yeah, one of us is going to love it, one of us is going to hate it.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah, if you think Alan Wake is a wanky horror game, just wait till you play OD. It's going to be... Yeah, you won't. I think people won't understand a bit of it.
We'll see.
Then there was Fortnite Rocket Racing, which I'm very excited about.
It's more excited tomorrow, yes. i.e. today.
Yeah, but the Lego one came out.
The bloody
yesterday.
Camera's blurry again.
What is wrong with you?
Well,
there we go. I think it might be the light, so we have to zoom in on your face.
No, don't zoom in on me. That's way too close. I don't like that. Whoa, no.
There we go. Right, people listening won't be able to see.
Fine. Sorry, listeners.
Yeah. But yeah, the Fortnite Rocket Racing that came out today. If you're listening, and then yesterday the Lego one came out, which I think more people in the community are interested in. Apparently, I've read that it's 8-player. You host a session, and then people can come and join you. Is what I'm thinking it is.
Okay.
like Minecraft Realms, I think it's called, or Worlds. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, that I'm gonna probably test that out tomorrow. Yeah,
Go for it.
It looks cool. I'm glad to see that they're bringing new things to Fortnite and just making it a Roblox style hub.
Yeah. Nice.
Tales of that's the one with the guy.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But he's Bayek in Assassin's Creed Origins, and he's been in some other games as well.
Yes.
Abubakar something.
I didn't recognize.
I can't remember his name.
But yeah, he's created a game about
cool.
his father that passed away. It's about grief, and it seemed quite. It looked good. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Then Lost Records Blooming Rage came out, which is the next Don't Nod, and it's a narrative adventure. So I think it's going to be, like how Life is Strange comes out every now and again, and then there's the odd, what was it? What was the Tell Me Why?
Tell Me Why.
That came out, and I wonder if this is kind of like another version of like Tell Me Why, where it's kind of Life is Strange adjacent.
Yes, similar gameplay, but not part of the series.
I think this one was the one that reminded me a bit of Stranger Things because it was very much for people, and it was a bit of a horror-esque.
I mean, the other one was also Stranger Things, but yes, this definitely looks Stranger Things. 4 high school friends.
Then they meet up afterwards.
Hopefully, with it being Don't Nod, there'll be some good representation.
Oh yeah, we already saw 2 girls holding hands.
Oh great, I hadn't clocked that.
I'm pretty sure I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So we love that about Don't Nod. Yes,
I mean, maybe they're girls. They could quite easily be non-binary looking at them. Not to judge.
Wow, Ben.
I just they look like they would be comfortable being who they are.
It's the kind of game that will have a nice spread of queer representation.
That's what I meant to say.
There you go.
They look non-binary. I am cancelled. Okay, then the next one, Marvel's Blade.
Yes, which is from Arcane.
Is that Wesley Snipes?
Yes, in the original, the old films. Yeah. So Arcane is the developer who made the Dishonored games, who made Deathloop, who made the spacey one you like.
Did they? No, they didn't. Not the one I like. Oh, Prey.
Prey.
Was that Prey? Was that?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Did they make it?
That's Arcane.
Is it?
I'm sure it is.
I think so.
Well, you can look it up while I talk about it.
But can I just say one thing very, very that I think I told you about that I was very excited? That it's going to be third person.
Yes. So their games are sort of notoriously first person.
It is Arcane, but I was thinking it's Bethesda, but it's Arcane published by Bethesda.
Yes. Yes, their previous games are notoriously first person, and this is third person. And it's interesting because they make immersive sim games, which are these games where it's a sort of sandbox and you can do what you want and go where you want and sort of manipulate the AI.
And break the game, probably.
Exactly. And sort of play around with stuff and different abilities. So it's really interesting to see them now doing a licensed game, which is Marvel of all things and Blade. And like, how is that gameplay going to sort of relate to what they usually do and sort of relate that to Blade? So I'm interested to see that. I think that could be really cool.
Because when you think of a Marvel game, you expect it to be very much on rails, or everything must be. And for example, Spider-Man, I don't know, everything just seems to be very expected. You don't do anything unusual in those games, whereas this, you can manipulate, like Arcane games, you can manipulate and you can play the game however you want. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think something like Spider-Man or even Guardians of the Galaxy,
much more linear.
The game is telling you play the game like this. This is how you do it. You can't have a different style, really. I mean, other than stealth or attack. Yeah. Whereas this, it could, if it's Arcane, I played it where, I think it was Prey, I had a foam gun, and I needed to get to another area, but there was a barrier, and I think you were meant to go and do this, but I'm like, if I very, very carefully like make a little bit of foam each time, and I can actually build a tiny little bridge so I can just go over it myself, and then you're kind of stuck, and then you're screwed, and you don't know what to do, but the game allows you to go and do goofy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas something, they would never do that in a Spider-Man or Marvel's, Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy. So
I'll say as well, I was not a massive fan of Deathloop in terms of its gameplay, but one of the things it did really well was black representation, in that you're playing you play as 2 different black characters. And I think the studio and the actors behind those characters did a great job of making those characters authentic. And so to think that that's the studio that's now making Blade, who is also a black character, from Marvel notoriously, I think they could do a really good job of making Blade a really authentic character, which will be great.
Yes. And Mecha Break, whatever that was.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, that was just the mecha. It looked a bit like Armored Core. It was the Armored Core, Baby's first Armored Core.
Baby's first Armored Core is Mecha Break. Okay, great. Yeah. Not interested.
No.
Next.
Although the next one was a weird one.
It was. So the next one is Light No Fire, which is the next game from Hello Games, which was the developer behind No Man's Sky, which I haven't played and you have played and you enjoyed.
I played it on release day, back in the day when there wasn't really much to it. And it was, I played it until about 3 a.m. because I was going around. I wanted to go and land and just, but I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. You can go to these thousands of planets. I like the first planet I went to, because you can name them. And then apparently people could go there and they could see the name that you'd name them. But I'm not sure if that was a lie or not. But I went there and I named one of them after my grandparents who had passed away just quite recently afterwards or before. And so it was, that was cool. And then after I played a huge session of it and was like, okay, what is there anything to this game? And I Googled and I was like, okay, so that's what happens at the end? Oh, great. And then I went back to it quite a few years later, aka a few months ago. And it's a very, very different game. It definitely chugs a little. I was streaming it and it looks old. I mean, it's quite an old game now. It's old.
10 years old.
Oh, God, yeah, 10 years.
Yeah.
And it definitely feels like a 10-year-old game, but they've updated it with loads of new things that I would probably have to sit down for ages and kind of plan. But yeah, I just hope this game, I just know this game's probably going to be launched similar to No Man's Sky, I think.
Well, I mean, that's the worry. Hopefully they've learned. Because No Man's Sky had a rocky launch, it didn't live up to expectations. Hopefully they're going to be a lot more careful about what they show of this game. What we've seen so far is that it's still procedurally generated, so they're clearly using similar ideas and technology.
Yeah,
but it looks like it's all on one planet rather than it being exploring space.
Starfield, take note.
it's all one planet, but with multiple biomes, and you explore it with other people online. But it's a fantasy setting, so it's got flying dragons and whatever else in it. It's not space; it's fantasy. So they've gone to the other typical.
It's a very, very, for an independent studio, a smallish. Well, I don't know how big it is, but it's an independent studio. It's such a wild thing to make. Like there's so much. What's the word I'm looking for?
Very ambitious.
It is. That's the word. It's a very, very, very ambitious game. For one that, I don't know, it might seem a bit over ambitious, and there are just so many different things that I'd like to know, like if it's procedurally generated. So because obviously it'll be a world, so I wonder if technically you can go around the world. But then if somebody else goes to a bit that you've already been, will it appear the same that you've unlocked in this procedurally generated?
Well, exactly, and that's what I'm not sure about.
Yeah,
in terms of how that's going to work. So there's a lot to still be shown about that, and there was no release date either, or even a release window.
No,
so it could still be a very long way off.
Yeah,
we need to see more of it. Basically.
We do. It sounds very ambitious. I will definitely not get my hopes up.
See, I'm more interested in that than I am No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah, no. So, I mean, I've been burned with No Man's Sky,
and I haven't.
It came out and it was like, oh yeah, this is not what people were really expecting, or we expected a bit more than this. And I mean, we will see. I'm just a bit, hesitant. And then Stormgate, whatever that RTS game was that came out.
Yeah.
And then Elfelt Valentine or Guilty Gear.
That's a new character in Guilty Gear Strive.
Don't know what that is.
Which is a 2D fighting game, which is very popular.
Would you like to introduce what was announced next?
Well, what I will say is that the list that we're looking at is incomplete because there was a bit that happened earlier on, which was a new trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes.
And it came with a new song. So there is a new theme song for the game.
Is that not the same as... Was that not in the original?
No. It's a brand new song.
Okay.
Written by Uematsu. And it was performed at the Game Awards with a new trailer. Now, the way the trailer was shown, it sort of looks like it's Aerith singing it. But in actuality, it's obviously it's an actual singer who was there on the stage. And I've totally forgotten her name, but it turns out that she sang "Never Enough" in The Greatest Showman.
Never.
Yeah.
Because you didn't like her voice, did you?
No, I thought she was shouting the top notes.
Yeah, you
She
were.
was a bit flat, I'm
Everyone in the
afraid.
chat was like, "Oh, she's amazing," and I was like, "No,
No, she was a bit shouty and a bit flat for me. However, it came with new footage of the game. Now, what Square Enix then released on their YouTube channel is actually a longer trailer, and it includes a load of other stuff at the very beginning, which wasn't shown at the Game Awards.
Is that spoiler?
Well, you haven't finished the original.
I've not finished the original, and I also don't. I'm like, I know Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out in February, and is it February?
Yes,
Yeah.
February 29th.
And I do not need to see anymore. Like, I want to be completely surprised by the game.
So,
other than what I played on.
I will vaguely outline just things that were shown that were interesting, i.e. we got to see Sid, and we haven't really seen a lot of him yet. So we got to see Sid, and he spoke as well.
Have I seen Sid?
Have you seen Sid?
I met Sid.
What, in the original?
Yeah.
In your playthrough?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I think I've just got to him, actually.
Maybe.
Yes.
Rocket Town?
Yes.
Okay.
Just arrived.
So we got to see Sid in Rebirth. There's quite a bit of Zack in there. There's a lot of the Gold Saucer, which I think is the big thing everyone's really excited about. Is all the mini games.
The mini games in the first one were like annoying, and you just completed it.
Games.
Yeah.
And yeah, this I think is expanding on that. So there are more of the Gold Saucer stuff in this new trailer.
The worst platinum trophies in the world, isn't it?
Probably. And then there are a lot of nods to key scenes, I will say. And if you watch the very end of the trailer, there's maybe a bit of a thing. If you know, you know. But the song is very nice. What I also read is that song is taken, I think it's taken from the play called Loveless, which is a big part of Crisis Core. So, firstly, you need to go play Crisis Core.
You need to finish 7 first.
Yeah, but you need to play Crisis Core because Loveless is part of that. It's like a play that's being performed. And what... Hang on, I need to sneeze.
Oh. Oh, bless you. Should have muted then, but never mind.
That's been brewing a while, I'm sorry.
I wondered why you made a funny noise. You sound a bit huskier.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel a little bit...
Uh-oh.
But what I've read is that Loveless is being performed in the Golden Theatre in the Gold Saucer. And that is new. Because the Gold Saucer did not have a theatre before.
It did.
Does it?
Yeah.
A theatre?
Well, it's like the stage with all the... It has like an amphitheatre area where you go there and it's like, oh, come back later.
Okay, I'm not remembering it very well in that case.
I'm pretty sure Golden Saucer had a... Let me just quickly Google this.
I'm sure you're right.
Golden Saucer stage. If I put...
You might want to put...
Yeah, FF7. Oh, yeah. Because there's definitely one in 14. Oh, well, there was that stage there, but that's
not a stage.
No, where's the... It was like an amphitheatre in there. I'm sure... Yeah, this... Was it this one? Yeah, this one here. Gold stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember much happening there.
No, I don't remember. So far, I mean, I've just got there, and every time I go there, it's like, no, come back later, and there's people like kissing and telling you to fuck off when you walk up to them.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, no, that was the gold stage, but I can't see. Where's the larger?
This is very important that we.
It is. We must get this correct because we know that you come here for your Final Fantasy. I don't know where it is now. And
well, can you control F?
Oh. Stage. No, not hostage. Sign for the state. There we go. Event Square. That one. It's like an amphitheatre.
I genuinely do not remember that.
Wow.
That's shocking. Anyway.
Am I giving you Final Fantasy?
Well, only because it's fresh in your mind. Anyway, they have the Golden Theatre now in the Gold Saucer in Rebirth, and it looks like there will be proper performances which will include Loveless. So therefore, it's a big link back to Crisis Core. So
I need to play Crisis Core.
You need to play Crisis Core. So that was 7 Rebirth. So that happened earlier. And then, if we're going in order, we got Final Fantasy 16 DLC. And not only did we get it, we got it right fucking now. And I need to go and download it. So we knew DLC was coming. It's in 2 parts. The first part isn't out available now. It's called Echoes of the Fallen.
Yeah, so when it ponged up on screen.
Ponged up.
It went pong. Oh, no, that's my pong noise from Final Fantasy. It just reminded me of Final Fantasy 14 when they come up with the missions.
Oh, okay. So Echoes of the Fallen. So the Fallen in 16 was sort of like the old civilization that was lost. So I'm guessing that this is going to lean into that a little bit. What I really want is for that locked door to be unlocked, because there is a door, if you've played it, you know where I mean. There is a circular door that does not open at any point in the game, and I was always thinking, oh, this is going to open at some point, and it never did. And I am really hopeful that this door is going to open in this DLC.
Sure.
The second DLC is coming in spring next year, and it's called The Rising Tide, and that's because it's all about Leviathan, who is the other icon that is referenced in the game, but you never see. It's kind of like a lost icon. So they've left a big gap there, basically, to fill with this DLC. So we all assumed it would be Leviathan, and hey, guess what? It is. There was also a Tonbury King boss fight that looks terrifying.
A Tonbury isn't hard enough. You got to face the king of Tonburys.
Well, Tonbury King is a recurring boss. Like we've had that before, not just Tonbury, but the
not
King.
In 16.
But not in 16.
No.
And in fact, there weren't Tonburys at all in 16. So I don't think. So for people complaining, oh, it's not Final Fantasy. Well, there's another box ticked. It's got Tonburys in it now, and it looks terrifying. It's a really scary version of a Tonbury with a huge knife.
I think it's going to be very, very. I wonder if that's going to be like the main. Because sometimes they have the bosses that you have to kind of grind. That was level 50. That was like level 53. I saw.
Oh, was it?
Which
maybe it's early then. Who knows?
No, but your max level is 50, isn't it?
Is it?
I thought it was.
I can't remember. Or is it 60?
I think. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Basically, we don't really know very much of what's in these DLCs in terms of story. I'm wondering if Echoes of the Fallen that's out today.
Yeah, 50.
Oh, it is 50.
Oh wait. But no, I think you. Okay, players can unlock the Final Fantasy mode and reach level 100.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say...
That's right, yeah, you did afterwards, yeah.
I think Echoes of the Fallen might be quite short, as a sort of short DLC to do first, and The Rising Tide will be a longer story.
Especially if he's got a whole icon at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that... I don't know what's in Echoes of the Fallen, basically, but it's out now. No, I don't know.
We've met. Yoshi P.
Look, I'll drop Ben Starr a message, shall I, in a minute, and be like, tell me what's in the DLC.
Yeah. Please.
He won't tell me.
He'll be wasted by now.
Oh, absolutely, he'll be wasted. And good on you, Ben, for getting wasted. So anyway, I'm gonna download this very soon and play it because I'm very excited.
Was there anything else other than the big final thing, which wasn't really that exciting? Oh, we've got a list now. We can go through if there's any that we've missed. I think. Light No Fire, Rising Tide. Yeah, no, I think it was pretty much. Because then...
there were lots of awards.
Yeah, Alan Wake won an award, and there was a trailer for the finals with the AI.
Oh, the finals. Yeah, we missed that.
That was announced today.
So that's out now.
Yeah.
So go play that. From what Bertie at Eurogamer has said, it's actually really good, and he thinks it's going to be a really big deal, like a massive game everyone's going to jump into.
It's also interesting with the AI voice. So obviously, AI should never replace voice actors. I just find it quite an interesting way that they're making commentary that's going to be dynamic commentary using AI where they don't need people to record over 1 million voice lines.
We should say the finals is an online like arena shooter, basically.
Like Valorant style, is it?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's teams of like 4 versus 4 or something like that. And the idea is that it's an arena shooter, but it's like an esports game. So there's a crowd out of like a literal arena that you're shooting and fighting in, and there are commentators that are commenting on the action to make it feel like you're playing in an esports game. But those commentators are AI. Now I'm sure they're based on actual actors, and their voices
a lot.
But they're using AI in order to sort of dynamically comment on the action, which sort of in theory I kind of get and is interesting, but also, yes, maybe don't use AI and pay your actors. Yeah. So we'll have to see how it works.
Yes, it'll be interesting if there's any backlash with that. I mean, there already has been some I've seen, but it'll be interesting if there is a line and people are like, okay, in a single player game where there are going to be limited lines, you don't need AI, but something where, anything could happen, it might be interesting.
We'll see.
Yeah, I will reserve judgment. I want to see what voice actors think about that. I think listen to them.
Definitely.
And then there was the final
one more thing
announcement, and I was expecting Death Stranding. Well,
when this started, immediately I was like, oh, I know what this is, because it had been rumored that this was going to be coming.
I feel like somebody told me.
Probably me.
No. Actually, it wasn't you. It was somebody. Yeah, it was somebody who worked with them, not for them, but worked with Capcom, and I think they accidentally told me.
Interesting. Well, the one more thing, which is not coming until 2025,
like all the games, is
Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah. So the next Monster Hunter game, we had Monster Hunter World, that was PS4 and Xbox One. That was followed by Monster Hunter Rise, but that was originally a Switch game. So it was more of a, like, World was a big, suddenly we're going sort of big open world and like multiple level, not quite open world, but like big levels. And it was a big scale up from the previous Monster Hunter games. Rise sort of continued that, but on a slightly smaller scale.
Yeah, and I liked that
and
more.
Handheld on Switch.
And it made I feel like the traversal in that one, you could get from one side of the map to the other very quickly because the traversal was a lot more.
I loved Rise.
I thought Rise was brilliant. Yeah.
I enjoyed World, but then maybe it's just because having played World, I sort of knew what I was getting into with Rise.
Same. And then the
but Rise just felt smaller and
they improved on
concise.
Lots of things. Yeah. They get a lot
more
of quality of life.
And so now they're doing Wild. So we've been due like the next Monster Hunter on a big, on next gen hardware, which is what this is. It's going to be on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S.
And it seems like massive. I think the big thing with this is lots and lots of enemies. Lots of monsters.
Yes. So it's a very short trailer. It doesn't show very much. What it does show is the hunter riding a monster that I don't know what it's called off the top of my head. It's like a sort of feathery dinosaur birdie thing.
Oh, not the Yuki or something like that, is it?
Don't think so. But it's riding through this sort of wide plain desert thing. And there is essentially a stampede of monsters.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like riding through a huge group of other monsters. So it's this huge open plain, loads of monsters running around. So in terms of sort of what's the next step for Monster Hunter, I guess it's that idea of building the ecosystem of having like big groups of monsters. I'm sure you'll have your singular Rathalos,
big ones,
and all that sort of stuff, but having like stampedes and big groups of monsters to fill out the place seems like what they're going to do. Probably much bigger, more expansive environments as well. Whether it's fully open world, I don't know. That would be cool, rather than sort of set areas. But it looks pretty cool. But it's not until 2025, so there's a long wait.
Excellent. And they're going to announce more next summer. All right, we're just going to take a very, very quick pause now. And we're back. It's all right. A little bird called.
Don't tell everyone that, Ben.
Something like that.
So we've realised that we actually missed out some things.
Which is good. I'm glad we took this break because we just had to double check stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe I missed one of like the most exciting games ever.
Which was?
The Division type game. Well, no, there's a game called Exoborn coming out that is made by people who made The Division, or it's like a team of people who have made The Division but have gone on to their own studio.
They're their own studio now.
And it's like an extraction co-op thing, which sounds a little bit dull, but then looking at it, just seemed gorgeous. Like a really interesting mechs, and I can't remember exactly what it was.
One of the big hooks of it is that it's a post-apocalyptic world, but sort of a climate change world. So it's full of lightning strikes and storms and tornadoes and stuff like that. And so you are
battling nature as well.
It's like is it the Dark Zone in the Division? It's basically
I'm impressed.
It's basically the Dark Zone from Division, but it's like out in the wilds, but with like nature and huge cataclysmic effects going on, which look kind of cool. And that's why I was like, this sounds like it's your sort of thing.
Just Cause 4 meets the Division's Dark Zone.
Sure.
Have you played Just Cause 4?
No.
It's fun.
Okay.
You can goof around like a lot with that game, but it's also bad performance. So
Good.
yeah, that I'm very, very excited about that. As Dusk Falls is coming to PlayStation, we need to go and play that. I think.
Yes.
Let's play that together sometime and just chill on a Sunday.
But we'll continue on the Xbox
Saturday.
that we've already started.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's coming to PlayStation.
I think I
that's
just
nice.
stayed on the sofa, stick my head on the side, closed it, and then we kind of made some decisions kind of together.
Yeah.
You played it, and I was just enjoying watching it.
That is, it's Carolyn Marshall, who used to work for Quantic Dream, who made Heavy Rain and various others.
And
she made her own studio. Yeah, one of my friends is in this game. It's like a narrative choice game, but you play it with others, which looks really fun.
And people like it. I've not heard anybody say a bad word against it.
No, good story.
So, yeah. What were the other? Well,
some other bits. There is finally
from the East.
There is finally a release date for Black Myth Wukong. Now we've talked about this on the podcast before.
One of our most popular videos on YouTube is us just talking about it
because we played it at Gamescom. Now this game is from Game Science, which is a Chinese developer who has been criticized. There is a really good report on IGN about the studio, so go read that for some background on them. But they are making this game. It's a Souls-like game. It's based on Journey to the West, or inspired by.
Yeah, inspired.
Which is a like classic Chinese novel. You're playing as this monkey protagonist, and it's a Souls-like battling all these enemies. We got a new trailer to see some new bosses, which look really cool. But also these like huge colossal beasts that you're riding, like a massive fly. And
we were fighting bosses,
like
but the bosses we fought were like no more than kind of 5 times our size. These were like hundreds of times. It was Shadow of the Colossus style.
Exactly. So the scale of the game is huge. And it sort of gave a little bit more of information about the story, or sort of some storytelling was in the trailer, which we hadn't really seen too much of. And it was in English as well. But we now know it is coming out on the 20th of August next year.
And why do you know that?
Because it's 2 days after my birthday. So I'm very excited to finally play that. And it's coming to... I'll be 37, thank you very much.
Late 30s.
It's coming to PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. So I am very excited for that. I'm really glad that we finally got a release date. That for me could be a Game of the Year contender next year. Like I think it's going to be up there.
Which do you think? Was she more looking forward to Rebirth or this?
I think Rebirth, but that's also sooner. So
yeah,
I can afford.
You'll have forgotten
to be
about it by the time Game of the Year's round.
Yeah, maybe.
Can I say there's not a single mention? I know it wasn't nominated as well, but not a single mention in the whole award show of the Wizard game.
Great.
But I also said, like, if Alan Wake had come out at that time, I don't think it would have got anywhere near the amount of awards it got.
What you think is a recency thing?
Definitely think it's a recency thing. Because it's a bit wanky, but it's quite recently wanky.
Great. There was another thing that was shown, which was the next project by Ikumi Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we saw a very brief trailer for it, which is more of a concept piece than anything. But she was the creator of Bayonetta, and then before she left Capcom...
Mm-hmm.
Do I mean Capcom? No, I don't mean Capcom. I can't remember. Platinum.
Yes. Bayonetta.
That's who I mean. And then she went on to basically design the concept behind Ghostwire Tokyo before leaving that. This is now her next project, which, as I said, it's just a concept really, but it looks super cool. It was very sort of Japanese, but not necessarily anime. Very urban, very her, very cool. yeah, I know very little about it, but I'm immediately intrigued and I want to know more.
Yeah.
Because it looked super, super cool.
Two other little things that were announced. The Jurassic Park survival game looked quite interesting. I have no idea what it is, and that kind of game would not appeal to me that much. But then I saw like it's got dinosaurs and it's Jurassic Park, so that instantly makes it a little bit more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one more which Skull and Bones is actually getting a release date on the 16th of February, and then they can forget about it, and they've completed their contract,
exactly,
and then they can just forget about it.
Yeah. There's another one as well. I've also just remembered. So we keep jumping around and remembering things. Rise of the Ronin.
Yes, Ronan Keating
is the Ronin.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. Which is the next game from Team Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
So, it looks pretty cool. It looks very Wolong meets Ghost of Tsushima, which is kind of expected. It's a third person sort of action adventure narrative driven game set in Japan.
Yeah.
But it's the team that did Wolong. It definitely has some similarity with that, I think. So I think that's going to be good. Maybe not mind blowing, but it looks good. It was a nice trailer.
Yeah.
Not for you.
It looked worse than. I mean, I like kind of those Soulsy type games, but I don't know. Maybe it was the quality of the stream, but it just didn't look that good. I think there are other games that they've released. Because who is it again? It's
Team Ninja.
Team Ninja. So like Neo 2 looked better than that, and that was out a few years ago.
I would say go back and watch the trailers again.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we watch it all as part of a stream, and the stream is never the best quality. So
I feel like I saw this last time and also thought the same. So I'll watch it again, but we'll see. Another thing I don't know if we mentioned this or not, and I just remembered Blade, so made by Arcane. This is third person.
Yes, we did say that.
We did say that. Okay, yeah. No, I just couldn't remember because I was like, this. Yeah, it's weird that it's going to be third person and not first person for the first time. All right.
So I think that was everything.
What was your number? If you had to choose your one highlight, what would it be?
My one highlight. Well, I can give you my top three, I think.
No, I want your one highlight. Okay, three in order.
My three in order. I think number 3 would be Black Myth Wukong. The fact that we got a release date, I'm really excited about that. And I think that game's going to be great.
Yeah.
Number 2 is probably that Nakamura concept.
Okay.
Just because I think
it looked really cool.
It just looks super cool, and it's the sort of thing that's a surprise. I think a lot of what was here was either known games or we sort of knew that something was going to be coming. So yeah, I think that was just a complete surprise out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I really I love Bayonetta. I didn't love Ghostwire Tokyo, but I really liked the style of it and what it was aiming for, which I think was very much her concept. So to see her doing her own project next on her own, really cool concept, is amazing. So I'll say that's number 2. My number 1 is probably Final Fantasy 16 DLC, only because it's out now and I'm desperate to go and play it because I'm like, holy fuck, what's coming next in that story? I want to know. So that's really excited me. Obviously, I love the Rebirth trailer as well. But I just want to play that at this point. I know enough about it. I want to play it. I'm excited about Monster Hunter Wilds. And I think the next game from the Ori studio, I think that could be really cool.
Yeah.
So they're probably my favorites. But Final Fantasy 16 purely because it's go play it now, and I am chomping at the bit to go and give that a go. Yeah,
I was.
What
very
about you?
excited about it. Probably, I'd say third. I don't know really. I think it's quite hard to choose 3. I maybe Exoborn just out of the interest of what the Division people are going to be doing and just see what that's like. But also, I mean, the 16 DLC is very exciting. I'd say the second one obviously is going to be Wukong, just because we played that and love it, and was not expecting a release date this soon. I don't know. It just feels like a game that would be taking forever to come out just because of the quality it was that we were playing.
I mean, it has been years, so
it's very true. So finally, it's coming out. But probably my favorite would have to be OD.
Of course.
Of course. I'm intrigued, and it's weird because I knew that was coming out, and then I knew that he was working with Microsoft because he announced it a while ago, ages ago. And then that's just been completely radio silence. And then he announced DS2, the working title for Death Stranding 2. And yeah, so I was just expecting maybe he's just going to go all in on that, but no, it seems like both projects are coming out. Wonder if they'll come out like same year or if he's going to split it. Because if it's one's Xbox and then the other one, I guess, will be PlayStation.
You'd think so. And I reckon that this one, if he's showing it now, is what's next. So maybe it's 2024. Maybe, we didn't give a date, did he?
No, but he showed Death Stranding. He showed more of... He's actually shown more of Death Stranding 2 than of this.
Who knows? Who knows what way around?
Yeah, it'd be funny if you just released them at pretty much the same time.
I mean, that would be amusing.
That'd be him. That'd be very much a
rake
Kojima thing.
Rake in that money.
Release them both on the same day. Has any director released the two totally different games on the same day?
No, but I would love that to happen. that would be hilarious.
That would be a Kojima thing.
So in short, we're both very excited about Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that. I'm looking forward to going back into it, and maybe it'll spur me on to go and get the platinum.
Absolutely. Well, that was the Game Awards. Overall, it was a decent showing and a lot of exciting stuff, even if it's not out for a while.
And we're lucky we get to play so many games.
We do.
There are lots of games, and there's some out now as well. So
and I sort of hope next year is quiet so we can catch up on the backlog.
Please tell me.
I need to play through more Baldur's Gate. So yeah. But we're going to finish off by reading through what you lot have been playing.
Yeah. Well, what have we been playing? Well, we'll talk about that next time, I guess.
I
don't think
I've been playing much.
No, I've been busy. I played a little bit of Spider-Man on the PlayStation Portal.
And how was that?
Plays well. I've also downloaded FIFA. I've been playing...
Oh my God, I noticed that on the PlayStation earlier. I was like, what is that football game?
Football game. I also... No, we have been playing one game that we both love.
Oh, Gubbins.
Gubbins.
Yeah, Gubbins is great.
It's made by the people who made Unpacking.
Witchbeam.
Yes. And you can get it on your phone. You get it for free. I've unlocked it. I paid like £10 and I unlocked absolutely everything. But for those of you who don't want to pay, you don't have to. I mean, you get one free game per day. It's like it's a puzzle game, a letters puzzle game where you have to create as many words as possible, and you get combos. And there's bad gubbins and good gubbins that will help you or punish you, hinder you. So yeah, give it a go. It's the best way to describe it is by just downloading it and playing it.
Yeah, just give it a go. It's really fun, and as I said, it's free. You get one puzzle a day. So it's sort of become
Wordle
a bit like
style.
the Wordle for the day,
Yeah.
in that you have your daily puzzle.
And you can and the words that you get, you can decorate your scorecard at the end of the day, and everybody else gets the exact same one.
Which I didn't realise until I'd seen you do it, because I had one round where I had gay, anal, pegging. I had some great words, and I had an amazing score. But then I didn't get to make my little scorecard because I didn't realise I could do that. So
next time you will.
Next time I will definitely aim for the rudest words possible.
But I only bought it and paid for to unlock everything so that I can do like the classic stuff. I mean, I don't necessarily. I might not even play the classics. I might just stick to the daily. But I wanted to give them some money because I'm like, this is a really enjoyable game.
Yeah, it's good fun.
I thought it deserved getting money, but like I said, yeah, you don't have to. If you want to just play the daily one. You should play the daily one.
Yeah, I'm quite happy doing that.
Yeah, you're right, tight ass when it comes to free games.
That is true. Right, Yamano. I have picked up the Warcrack again after not playing for almost 3 years, but mostly been playing the Warcraft Classic Season of Discovery. I'm not even level 10, have unlocked a single rune, and I made the brilliant idea of playing a hunter. So for Classic, it's, vanilla WoW with some cool runes for newer abilities thrown in.
I love you like Grandad talking about phones. Cool runes that you have for your character.
I'm just reading carefully. It's also 6 a.m. But with that comes the limitations of Classic with it. As a hunter, need to worry about ammo being down one bag because it's going to be filled. I don't understand any of this.
Well, go to the bit that you do understand.
Why did I decide to hate myself with a hunter? Because I've mained a hunter for the past 13 years. Adding that I finally got the 300 mount achievement in WoW. Congrats. And now I have a heavenly azure cloud serpent. Now for the next mount goal of 350. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Yamano. I don't know enough about WoW to understand the details of what you've said here.
I played about 10 minutes of it about 10 years ago and was like, oh, these graphics are ugly.
Wow.
So it felt old about 10 years ago when I last played it.
Nice. Glinskadoodle. Following it being mentioned on a previous Swapping Joysticks, I looked up Metroid Prime Remastered. The nostalgia itch needed scratching, and I saw that Black Friday sale and coins meant I could get it for under £20. I'm so proud of you, Glenn. I'm so proud of you.
What, for being tight?
For buying this game. Okay. So good, so good. Easily a top 5 game of all time for me. The combat is fluid, the world is lush and varied, the score is beautiful, and one of my favourite aspects of the game is the scanning. It makes you feel like you, as Samus, are an explorer, scientist, as well as a warrior, and gives you bite-sized pieces of information about the world, creatures who used to live here, and objectives of your antagonists. The backtracking aspect of being a 3D Metroidvania is handled brilliantly, with new paths opening up over time, and it not getting too repetitive. There were fast travel option between save points unlocking at some point would have been a nice update. Discovering hidden areas and power-ups by using newer abilities in areas you've already been through feels rewarding, with the accompanying sound effect being up there with opening a chest in Legend of Zelda or winning a fight in Final Fantasy for me. Just amazing, and I hope the rest of the Prime series get remasters before 4 is released. Glenn, I wholeheartedly agree with you.
I feel like that.
Thank you for your contribution to this week's podcast.
That game should be allowed in our top 10 if you want it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's our top 10, so if it's a game that you love, then you get it in there.
I know, it's just it's a remaster, so it feels like cheating.
Oh, no, we get to decide.
Right, Debs has given us a very lengthy entry here. I've been testing out a bunch of games. Oh. Thank you. I've been testing out a bunch of games through Game Pass. I recently started Remnant, which I kind of just installed on a whim to see what the game is about. It's a post-apocalyptic shooter, which I didn't think would be my thing, but I'm having fun, and I think that is all that counts. It's been difficult for me to learn, and I have redone areas over and over and over again. Also, most areas change as to where enemies spawn, so there is always something to expect. It will probably take me forever to finish it too. Last night, I installed Hi-Fi Rush. Great game. And that has been super fun as well. However, I am bad at jumping, and I've also died multiple times on the jumpy bits. Battling to the beat of the music has been super fun. There was also SteamWorld Build, which you also played.
Yes. Oh, that's another game I played, but yeah.
One which Ben played on stream. Sim-type games will forever be one of my favourite type of games to play, and even more so if it has a build your world part to it. I love the dual aspects of this game where you also have to travel to the mines and get/build another area.
Yeah.
Definitely a game to lose many hours to without even knowing it. And finally, I went back to Super Mario World, aka Acid, on the Switch. Wonder, I guess you mean. And finished the third area of the game. Still super fun, very nostalgic, and it's just Mario, which is just always brings back fun memories of gaming as a kid.
Brilliant.
Dan Law says, of course I've been continuing my BG3 journey. Got to the end of Act 2 with over 100 hours playtime.
Oh, God.
Congrats to you. I've been doing everything I possibly can and exploring every inch of the maps, with the recent update making the inventory management at camp so much better, and finally seeing progress in some party character stories. I'm enjoying my time with the game even more. Breaking up my BG3 time a little by trying some other games. I've played the first episode of Alan Wake Remastered, which is the first game. The vibe is definitely on point, but the controls are pretty clunky, and as Ed mentioned on a previous swap and joysticks, the dodge is really bad. I enjoyed it enough to probably go back to it, undecided if I'll play an episode every so often, or try to complete the remainder in one run. Picked up Sifu in the sales, an also fun but very frustrating game, as it's interested me for quite some time. Played the intro and first area of this, really enjoying the combat. Do feel that at times I'm button mashing? I felt the same. A little, so definitely need to work on getting better at it, especially as some enemies are really tough compared to others. Timings feel a little bit tedious at times. The aging mechanic is so unique and the art style is awesome. Also got Trepang 2 on the cheap. Liked the look of the trailer, and given that it wasn't even a full price game to begin with, it was quite the steal. Holding off on playing this yet though. Well, let us know next week what you think of Trepang 2. Harleen Does Stuff has been doing a lot of stuff this week. I've been playing a newly released game called Gangs of Sherwood. Premise is that King Richard found philosopher's stones that then used to improve England to be sort of steampunky and technological but still medieval. But the sheriff is a silly sausage and took over, so you play either co-op or solo as Robin, Marion, Friartuck or Little John. It's really fun gameplay experience even when playing solo. It's for keyboard or controller, but it was defo made for controller. I played through the first arc and it was really fun. The gameplay for all characters feels really fast-paced and easy to grab to. All 4 characters feel very unique, even though I am biased because Marion is serving so much CNT energy. when she dodges and does a backflip, while the menly characters only do roly-polies. And they work really well solo, and I can see them in group. The story so far seems also fun. One thing I have to slightly nitpick is the accessibility. The only thing under their tab in settings is motion blur, and that to be for a game in 2023 release is just not enough accessibility. Agreed. But hopefully they will improve that as they just released. And then lastly, Clasco says, I've been playing Splatoon 3. I recently went to a Splatoon 3 LAN tournament, and it was cool to see so many people into the game. I'm glad you had fun.
Awesome. Wow. Lots. Thank you so much to everybody for submitting their games. That was a lot.
Yeah, a lot this week.
I'm glad we didn't, because we were like, do we add it to this podcast or do we do it next time? And I'm like, yeah, I think we'd have to have half the podcast if we were adding those as well. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll talk about the games we've been playing next time.
We'll try and play something else.
We are currently looking for nominations for the Swapping Joysticks Awards, because we've got 2 podcasts that are going to be out over Christmas and New Year. One will be our award show. Speaking of the Game Awards, the proper award show, the
real
Joystick Awards. That will be a podcast that we're going to put out with 10 awards. And yeah, so if you want to nominate some, we're going to look at your nominations. We're also going to look at our ones that we've maybe played and the ones that we want to talk about. We're going to pick 3 finalists for each category, and then we're going to debate it and choose which wins.
Yes.
And then,
but we need your thoughts.
Yeah, because there might be games that we hadn't thought about as well. Also, by the way, just before I go on to the next one, Pikmin won best sim strategy
game or something.
Yes, it did.
So it's very deserved.
Very, very deserved. Yeah, because it came up on my Reddit. The Fire Emblem Reddit was like, Pikmin won and Fire Emblem didn't, and all the comments were like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because yeah, anyway. But the other podcast we're going to do is the Game of the Year, which is where we make a top 10 and then we order it and then obviously choose the Game of the Year. So those will be 2 separate ones, because if we put them together, it ends up being way too long.
Yeah. Also, one of the awards is going to be the listeners, readers, viewers.
It'll be the
audience?
community choice.
Community, there you go. The community choice, which will be entirely voted by you.
Yes.
So I can't remember how we're doing that. Are we doing a form, or is it just voted elsewhere?
I don't know yet.
Okay, we'll let you know. But there will be a community choice Game of the Year.
Yeah, maybe a top 10? Or should we just have a vote?
We'll do a vote, and then we'll see what's up there. Maybe a top 5 if there's enough variety.
Perfect.
So yes, please do vote in that.
Very, very good. And yeah, thank you very much. If you want to nominate for those, you can nominate on Twitter, or Discord is probably the best way. Discord.gg/biggestbennis. Every day there will be a different game up there to nominate, or a different topic award to nominate for, because some of them are not going to be necessarily games. Sexiest voice. By the way, I meant to type in sexiest character, because I typed in sexiest voice and everyone's like, Ben Starr. I was like, well, he isn't a character. And sexiest. Are they going for the voice?
You've said it now, Ben. You've said it now.
I think he might be nominated for that one.
I think he might be, yes.
So, if you want to go and watch more of us, I'm currently doing a playthrough of Spider-Man. I got to a really interesting bit. If you want to check that out, that's on my YouTube, as is my Baldur's Gate Be a Dick playthrough. We're currently going through the Underdark right now. If you know, you know. And that's going really, really well, especially just being a dick to people. I was a real dick to somebody. Well, obviously, because that's my Be a Dick playthrough in Baldur's Gate. One of them was like, you're a real pillock, you, like, said that to me.
Nice.
And then I was a dick to another person at another stage, and they were like, yeah, you're right. So it's interesting seeing the different replies you get from those. But yeah, they're both on YouTube, as is obviously always our main podcast and Inbox. Although I've just been calling it like a bite-sized topic podcast at the moment. Like it's part of Swapping Joysticks. So go to youtube.com, go and check it out. If you're not really a watcher and you like just listening, go to swappingjoysticks.com again, and you can get the links to Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Every single podcast that we do, Swapping Joysticks, or the bite-sized one, also gets the audio-only treatment on there. So you won't miss anything you can go and listen to us wherever. We also got the Spotify Wrapped for podcasters. Over 100 people subscribe to us on Spotify alone.
Nice.
Not including Apple and YouTube and stuff. So that's
awesome.
Really
so much,
stunned. So thank you. Yeah. Okay, Ed, where can we find you?
You can find me at ed_knights on Twitter and on Twitch. And you can see my writing on Eurogamer.
Excellent. You can find me Biggest Menace on YouTube, Twitch, and Biggest Menace 1 on the old Twitter, which I will only ever call it.
Nice. Right, we're going to bed.
Well, you can.
It's
I've got to go and
early/late.
edit this and upload it quickly. So yeah, thank you very much for watching or listening or fapping, whatever you're doing. Thank you very, very much.
Don't do that.
Ed's watching you. Ed's judging. So yeah, thanks very much. And we will see you next week for what I might be one of the last ones before our specials.
Potentially
Last one. Okay.
Well,
We will need to work out.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.